Okay, so as promised, I am attempting to bring back the Tuesday fun with a yoga class. Around 7:15 every Tuesday, I will make a commitment to come to the mat and share that time with you. So today, I want to start with legs up the wall because we're going to move into Sarvangasana pretty early on, working with arm balances, moving towards inversions, and also addressing carpal tunnel, since that might get in the way of some arm balances, and inversions, at least the ones where you're on your hands. So let's spin around and place our heels up the wall. And we'll stay here for about 5 minutes, so get yourself comfortable, situated. And we'll use this time to center and ground, come fully into our bodies. And this is a great pose for insomnia if you ever have trouble sleeping, or if your legs are tired, if you've been on your feet all day. See if you can scoot a little closer to the wall and let your femur heads sink down towards the floor so they're really settling into their sockets. You might start with both hands on the belly. Just taking a few deep, full belly breaths. And one on the belly and one on the heart. I'm breathing into the belly first, and then up into the chest. So low lungs, middle lungs, and upper. Taking fuller, deeper inhalations and elongating the exhalation. So maybe the exhale can become twice as long as the inhale. Bringing both of your hands to your heart. A few more rounds of breath and set your personal intention for your practice. And we'll roll over to the right side. So walk your feet down the wall, roll onto your right side and use your left hand to press yourself up to a seated position. Okay. So if you'd like, you can bring in your bolster. And we'll take a moment to just sit nice and tall in easy pose and roll out the wrists. All right, so make a fist and curl your wrists out. And a few passes in one direction and then the other. Continue to take deep breaths in and out through the nose. Now, one nice practice when you are working with the wrists is to take the back of your wrists and put them together and then roll them this way. So the front and the back of the wrist is always kind of relative, isn't it? So bring your wrists together to touch and then roll them towards you and away from you. And you can go both ways. So it's really important to bring in these range of motion exercises to help lubricate the joints and, of course, to relieve any stress and tension. Maybe you've been driving, white knuckling the steering wheel in a rainstorm today perhaps, or sitting at the computer and typing. The ergonomics is really important. Interlace your fingers. Okay. And then we'll just kind of roll the wrists around. A figure 8 here. Now I showed you guys this one, I think on last Tuesday, but if you turn your fingertips down and use your free hand to press, and so you're pulling your fingertips towards you, and kind of like you're Spider-Man, and you can shoot a spider web out of your wrist, out of your carpal tunnels there. Now draw your left shoulder back and down. And then we'll switch. So right hand comes out, left fingertips on top. Reaching out of your wrist, drawing the right shoulder back and down. And then bring your the back of your left hand towards you and place it down on the ground. And eye of the elbow spirals forward to get this forearm stretch all the way into the wrist. Now your free hand, you can also massage your forearm a little bit, all the way up to the elbow. Okay. Then shake it out. The other one. Eye of the elbow spirals forward. Draw shoulder back and down. You're stretching the forearm and the wrist. Okay. And then bring the hands to the knees. Kind of shake them out. And we'll do those neck rolls again. So sitting up nice and tall, chin to the chest, right ear, right shoulder. 3 breaths into the left side of the neck. So some of this will be a little repetition, and there's a whole lot today that's being introduced that's new. So chin to chest, left ear, left shoulder. A few breaths into the right side of the neck. Oh yeah, okay, so now take your free hand. And from the base of the skull, run all the way down the trap to the shoulder. Try that stripping action 3 times. And you can even make like a hook with your hand and kind of pull down, get the flesh of the trap nice and loose. Now you can draw the chin down and up while you're hooking the trap there. And let's get that on the other side since I didn't think to include it. So make a hook with your hand and like a sloth claw, and grab the trap and pull it forward and down. And then you can incorporate some twisting with the head, drawing the chin down and up, or the stripping from the base of the skull all the way down the side of the neck until you got your scalenes here too, and the trap. Okay, now speaking of scalenes, let's release chin to chest. Take one breath into the back of your neck here and elongate. So I'd like for you to take your left hand and just find that divot right there where your collarbones come together and the sternum meets. And then there's like a nodule, a bony landmark, if you will, the head of that clavicle. And just below it, if you put your fingertips there and apply a little bit of pressure in and then pull down and turn your head away, and you'll feel a fascial stretch running all the way up the side of your throat and even into the jaw. So here you might open and close your jaw, even jut your chin forward like a bulldog with a really bad underbite. And you'll feel that scalene and mandible stretch there. And then chin to chest, one breath into the back of the neck. Now find that divot there, right below your Adam's apple, where the collarbones come together and the sternum meets. And then over to the right, the bony landmark of your clavicle, just in about an inch and down. Apply some pressure. It's like your fingers will just kind of fit there. So that's your first rib. Pressing in and down to pull the skin tight, and then turn your head to the left. And again, you more than likely will be able to feel that stretch running down the left side, or excuse me, the right side of your neck and the scalenes, even into the sternocleidomastoid a bit, and the mandible, the jaw. So open and close. Again, lift the chin, lower, look over to the left, right, until you feel just some good sensation, some good stretch. Whenever fascial tissue is stretching, it kind of feels like an Indian burn. That's my take on it. So chin to chest. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. And hold on to the knees and round. So we're going to take a few seated cats and cows. If you're on a bolster, you can move it off to the side. So inhale. You might switch whatever foot's in front. Spill the belly forward, lift the heart. And exhale, round the back, chin to chest. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. All right, so we're going to start to build some heat, and boat is a great way to do that. Plus, we'll work the abdominals. So bring your hands behind your knees, feet forward, and we'll lift the heart, squeeze the arms in towards the side body, and draw the toes up. We'll take 5 breaths. So we're just warming up. We'll keep the knees bent for this one. If you're feeling good, you can reach the arms forward. Turning on your Ujjayi. Now we'll revisit boat several times, so take this one easy. Cross at your ankles, draw your heels in, shift the weight forward, and we'll step back into downward facing dog. So 5 breaths in down dog, checking in with your body, pedal out the heels, palm the mat. Shake your tail a little. Shrug your shoulders. You might lift your heels high, take them to the right. Getting into the side body a little bit. Inhale, come to center, take your heels over to the left. Inhale to center. And we'll lower the knees. So coming into hero's pose, you'll sit back between your ankles. So we're going to take a twist. And we'll twist to the right first. So what we're going to do is take your left hand and take your fingertips and kind of slide them underneath your right knee so that the palm of the hand is facing away from you. And you can slide those fingertips in. Okay. Now your right hand's going to come back behind your toes, and I'd like for you to take some circles with your belly here. So call this belly balls. So belly ball rotations. And then bringing the head over the spine. When you get those spirals all the way up into the chest, then we can start to turn the gaze behind us. Now try and keep the knees together. Maybe one wants to slide past the other, so you might need to draw back at the hip. And we'll take a few breaths. And from the navel on an inhale, begin to unravel. Hands to the knees, few cats and cows to counter. So exhale, round. Inhale, spill the belly forward. Might lift the gaze, lift the eyeballs up. Big inhale, exhale, rounding the back. One more time. And then we'll twist to the left. So take your right hand and cross the body. Palm faces away from you, and fingertips come underneath that left knee. So this is a nice forearm stretch. You're getting the wrist too, and take the left fingertips back behind you. Start those belly circles. Belly ball rotations. Bring those circles up into the chest, and the heart space, and then bring the head in for the twist. So oftentimes if we move with haste, we'll turn the head before we incorporate the thoracic spine. So we want to make sure that we're twisting with both the lumbar spine, the thoracic spine, and the cervical all playing together here. You can include the eyes if you look up and down and around in the corner. It's always an interesting stretch. Like, oh, I didn't know that was there. So one more breath, all the way up the spine. And then unravel from your belly first, and then the head comes around. All right, cat and cow. Exhale, round. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, round. And we'll return to downward facing dog. Okay, so down dog. Breathing here. It's always nice to roll open the hips, so we'll point the right toes back behind us, sweep the leg high, roll your right hip open. Big inhale. Now try and bend that left knee just a little bit and roll your inner thighs out.
As you exhale, place your right foot down. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Bend your right knee just a little bit. Roll your left hip open. And breathe. This is one of my favorite poses to bring in towards the beginning of class. And the left foot comes down. Okay. Now let's walk the hands back towards the feet for forward fold. Peace fingers wrap around the big toes. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, folding in. Bending the knees. We're going to come into chair pose. So sitting low into your hips. You reach the arms forward. Let's just keep the fingertips out for now, drawing the shoulders back and down. And you might get that wrist stretch again while we're here. And we're just building heat. And then reaching the arms up overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. Come to chair again, bending the knees. We're going to add a twist. So hands to prayer, left elbow to the right knee. Again, make sure that your knees are level. Working to warm up the body. Inhale to center, hips stay low, right elbow, left knee. So I don't know if you can hear that at home, but my neck always cracks in these twists. And it's a great indication that it's working. So if you're getting some snaps and crackles along the way too, it's a good sign. It doesn't mean you're falling apart. Inhale to center, exhale, fold in. All right, so we're gonna sit down into squat. So heel toe your feet out, and we'll sit down into our squat pose. Heels in, toes out. So again, a great place to roll out the wrists here. So, funny because one of the poses that, or shall I say, inversions / arm balances that we tend to teach first is crow. But that's not my favorite pose to introduce people into. And everybody's different. But because if you fall in crow, you fall on your face. I actually like Bhujangasana better. So we're going to start there. And the reason I like it better as an instructor is because if you fall on your bottom. So, but it can be a little tricky. So we'll try it out. I'll demonstrate first and then we'll do this together. You lift your bottom and bring your shoulders, let me come forward a little bit. You'll bring your shoulders underneath the backs of your knees. Okay. Now your elbows are bent 90 degrees. So now I'm going to go from the side so you can see this. So shoulders under knees, elbows are bent 90 degrees. Get your shoulders or your knees as high up as you can. And you can bring your big toes together to touch. So then you're shifting the weight into your bottom and just sitting on the backs of your arms. And then it's a little teeter-totter effect. Draw the shoulders back and heart forward. Now once you've got that, you can start to make this, unravel. Make this a little tighter by crossing your ankles. So I'll show you that approach as well. And then you guys can try at home. So fingertips are forward. Again, shoulders as high up as you can. And then once you get your big toes to touch,
you might be able to cross at your ankles. It's been a long time since I've done this pose. And then heart forward. And breathe, of course. But I do like this pose a lot. Shoulders down, and then cross one direction, come out, reset, see if you can cross in the other direction. And it's as if you're trying to pull your feet apart if you've got the cross. And then heart forward, shoulder blades down. If you fall out on your bottom, just the way I did. All right, so try that, and then we'll meet in butterfly pose. Don't be afraid to fall. All right, so that was our arm balance number 1. Roll out your wrists, and we'll meet back in our boat pose. So moving from your butterfly into boat. So you can always bring your hands back behind you. This is a nice stretch too. Lifting the heart. And then when you're ready, lift the legs and lift the arms. Okay, cross at the ankles, shift forward, and step back into your downward facing dog. Now, if you'd like to move through vinyasa, shift forward into plank pose, lower down through chaturanga, enjoy a nice big upward facing dog or cobra pose to modify. And breathing in down dog, 5 breaths, all together. And we'll try and hold this down dog nice and steady. Minimize the fidgeting. And from downward facing dog, hop forward into your squat pose, malasana. So hop forward and sit down into your squat. All right, so I would like to bring in crow now. Give me just one moment. Get my blocks for this. The blocks, if you have blocks at home, they do tend to be helpful for some. All right, so I'll bring in blocks and a bolster, because what we have to worry about with our crow pose again is falling on our face. So the first thing that I like to do is reverse engineer this and start on your head. So when we do place pressure on the head, it's very important to know where exactly to put weight. And if you bring a hand to your chin and then right above, straight line, right above the hairline, about an inch, directly above the pointy part of your chin is where you want to put the weight. It's about the size of a quarter. And always keep the chin in towards the throat whenever you're practicing inversions or putting any weight at all in the head, even in rabbit. So you might want to try rabbit first, just to find that point on the head, if you're not familiar with it already. Okay, so we're going to start with that point on the head, on the bolster. Fingertips spread as wide as they'll go, hands on the floor. You're gonna bring your knees up into the backs of your arms as high as you can get. And bring your head onto the bolster. You know, your feet will come up off the floor, and this will help you get used to, one, the bend in the elbows, the feet off the floor. You might even walk the knees up on the backs of the arms a little bit more. If you can't get your knees on the backs of your arms, maybe if you're large chested, or if you've got a little bit of a belly, then you can take the knees to the outside of the arms, like so, and squeeze in. This is how I first got crow. And then as you become more comfortable, then you can start to work the knees into the backs of the arms. Okay, so once you are okay with your reverse engineering and you fall out, so when we're starting with our head on the bolster and we're learning how to lift our feet up, don't push off with your toes. Just let the toes come up off the mat naturally. So you're a teeter-totter, no need to push. And falling out, putting the weight into your bottom to come out is actually an important part of the process. Looking up. Once you've mastered that, then we're ready to move into the next level, which is looking forward and coming from the top. So you still have your bolster there for insurance. You're looking forward the whole time. Look where you want to go. Don't look at your bolster, because then you'll go there. Look at the horizon. And again, no hopping. Just reach with your heart. Now, you can also keep one toe down on the ground and then work towards lifting both. Slide the shoulder blades down the back and hold for 3 to 5 breaths. My pants are a little slippery. Roll out the wrists when you're ready to come out. If you want to try it again, maybe try bringing the knees up into the backs of your arms. Now there's also a spot here. When people first start practicing crow, they end up with bruises on the backs of their arms that actually look really similar to if somebody were to grab you, like a thumb bruise, but it's your knee, so if you follow the curvature of your deltoid and then maybe flex and feel your trap, it's right here between your, tricep, not trap. Tricep, deltoid. So it's right here between your tricep and your deltoid. There's a little divot and your knees just fit, the bony parts of your knees just fit perfectly there. So you might try and find that. Again, look forward. We have a tendency to be really rounded. Once you get it, I want you to try and perch. And you can always hop back and move through vinyasa. From down dog, hop forward into your squat again, so we're meeting there. All right, so let's slide that bolster out of the way. We're in our squat pose. Let's take a little twist, extending your right arm out and lifting your left arm up. And hands to heart, extending the left arm out, reach the right arm up. And come on to your bottom. So hands to heart, come on to your bottom. All right, so here's where, while we still have energy, I would like to introduce Sarvangasana, or shoulder stand. This is considered the queen of all asana. What you might want especially if you have some neck problems, is either a towel or if you have a yoga blanket. I don't know, it's about 3 inches, I think, 2 to 3 inches. And take the fold and place it towards the top of your mat. Now your shoulders are going to come level with that blanket. So the top of the fold is flush with the top of your shoulders. So hopefully you can see that. All right, roll and tuck the shoulder blades underneath the back. So the blanket will help for there to be a little bit of extra space between the curve of your neck and the floor. So starting with bridge rolls, I'll demonstrate first and then we'll do this together because I don't want you turning your head once you're up there. Okay, so now I'll give you a few different approaches too for every body. So we'll do a few lifts and lowers of bridge rolls, and this will help to wake up the lower back. Feet are parallel, toes point forward, knees point forward. And then you're going to bring your hands underneath your hips. 1 foot at a time will come up into your shoulder stand. Now I have a tendency to be more like an L here, where we think this is toes over the nose, but this is toes way over the head. We're moving towards plow pose, which if you do put a bolster above your head or a couple pillows, that's also a great addition because it's kind of natural to come out of shoulder stand into your plow pose. But you want to try and draw the hips forward and the toes straight up. So now my toes are over my nose. And then you have the option of interlacing your fingers and pressing your forearms down into the ground as well. And then when you come out, you can come into plow if you like, and lower down. Okay, now here's the thing. Before we get started with Sarvangasana, shoulder stand, some bodies won't be able to just kick their feet up into the air like that. So if you're one of those, spin around again, use the wall. So you bring your shoulder to the wall and then spin on your bottom. Now you can still do your bridge rolls with your feet on the wall. Again, don't forget to roll and tuck the shoulder blades underneath the back. And then you can bring your hands to your hips and lift up one at a time. Remembering to walk your hands down to the floating ribs kidney space. Bring the hips forward. If this is too much, keep 1 foot on the wall and do this one leg at a time. I'm all about getting you there, one way or another. All right. So if you're familiar with shoulder stand, go ahead and come on into that. If you've never done it before, use the wall and see how that goes, and then try it on the mat. So take your time with it, no rush. And then once you are up in your shoulder stand, take 5 to 8 breaths. So 5 to 8 breaths. And if you put a bolster over your head, a couple feet above your head, you can also come into plow pose. So I'll do this with you. Good. Then use your hands as brake pads. Very slowly roll on out. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Make nice. You can windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Now we're preparing for some rocks and rolls here. So come into a tight little ball and start to rock forward and back. We'll meet in boat pose. And we're going to add on to our boat. So rocking on up. Boat pose. Extend the arms and the legs, and we'll take a twist to the right. Inhale, center. Twist to the left. Inhale up. Keep going. And inhale up. Hug the knees in towards the chest, curl into a ball. And then take the legs out. So bring your heels out into a V. Roll the inner thighs out. Go ahead and slide forward. You might bring your forehead over to the right knee. So opening up the hamstrings and the inner thighs. And take your forehead over to the left knee. And coming to center. All right, so I'd like to revisit Bhujangasana. So I'll demonstrate. You're going to come in through squat again. So if you're new to this, continue with the first level or variation that we just showed with the big toes touching, then try the hook with your ankles. Now when you're hooking too, it's as if you are trying to pull your knees apart and your ankles apart, but they're locked together. And what this does is it allows you to kick up into the heart and broaden across the collarbones a little bit. It gives you some leverage. All right. So that's your level 2, and then I'm going to demonstrate level 3, and you can play. All right. So we want to move everything out of the way because if we fall, we're falling on our butt. Bring your shoulders underneath the backs of your knees. You're shifting your weight from your feet into your hands and your bottom. So again, big toes touch. Now you're just lifting, you're sitting into your bottom, and then you can start to lengthen the legs. Point and flex the feet. When you're ready to come out onto your bottom, meeting in butterfly pose. And you might whirlpool around a little bit. So there's your Bhujangasana. Moving into, I think they call that firefly. That's what all the cool kids call it. On the Instagrams. Yeah, I'm 39 now, and I'm definitely seeing the importance of keeping up with the new trends. I remember MySpace and then Facebook. I was like, why do I want a Facebook account? Zuckerberg. All right, right foot, inner left thigh, left foot out, reach the arms high, and fold forward.
Inhale, come up. Now we're finding double pigeon, so you're going to take your left leg, ankle, cross it onto your right. Inhale, lengthen, folding in. Holy moly. Say hello to your left hip. And inhale up. Bring the sole of your left foot into your inner right thigh. Reach the arms high, big inhale. And exhale, fold forward. Inhaling up, bring the right ankle on top of your left knee. Right knee down. I will not be folding on this side, but if you'd like to lengthen up through the spine and dive on in, notice which side's different than the other. Couple breaths. Hips and our shoulders. It's like they have their own personalities. And they're different every day. So we never, ever, ever want to assume that our body's going to be the way it was even 5 minutes ago. All right. Bring your feet forward. Move the flesh of your sitting bones back. Reach the arms high. Big inhale. And Paschimottanasana. Forward fold. Intense back body stretch. So you might cross at your wrists. Hold on to the sides of your feet. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale. Kind of nestle yourself in there a little bit. Coming into our boat pose once more. If you have a block, go ahead and bring that in this time. So boat is to keep the heat a-roasting. Okay, so hold on to the backs of the knees. Extend the legs, extend the arms. Okay. If you hold on to your block, you can reach the arms up. Bend at the elbows. Inhale. Bend at the elbows. You're going to press into the sides of your blocks. Now, if you want even more challenge, extend and add your twists, and then bend at the elbows, bring the block behind your head, add your twist. Keep moving and breathing, or you can just stay here. Trembling, yes. And when you're ready to come out, place the block off to the side. Extend the left leg and hug the right knee in. Now you're going to cross your right ankle over your left thigh, upper thigh, and take your left arm, wrap it around the body. So you're extending your right hand back behind you. So take your twist. We're getting a little deeper into the twists now. And this is all to prepare us. I don't want to spoil the surprise. Okay. So take your right foot now and we'll take half lotus. So bringing your foot up into the crease of the left groin. Reach the arms high, big inhale. Exhale, folding in. Take it out to the side. So inhale up, take your left hand to the right knee, right arm straight up,
and reach over, revolving, rolling open. Maybe your right hand touches your left toes, maybe not, but you want to look up underneath your armpit. Opening up that right side body. And you can also reach back behind you, maybe bind and catch those right toes at your left hip. Inhaling up, bring your right leg forward, hug your left knee in if you want to give it a little shake. Sitting up nice and tall. Take your left ankle over your right leg. Take your right arm, wrap it around the left knee. Left hand tense back behind you, right behind your sacrum. And getting a nice twist and also a hip opener here. Now your right foot's flexed, so you're reaching out through your heel. Wanting to twist a little more deeply through the spine. Warming up the torso. And we'll inhale. Navel first, come to center. Bring this pinky toe edge of your left foot up into the crease of your right groin. Reach the arms high, big inhale, long through the side body, and then exhale, catch your right foot. Right hand comes to left knee, so inhale up. Left arm comes up, reaching towards the sky. Get as long as you can on your left side body. Now also maintain the length on the right side body as much as you can too. And reach towards your right foot. Lift the gaze underneath your armpit the best that you can. Rolling the left side body open. You might take the bind here. Left arm wraps around the back body to find those toes right on top of the right hip. So we're in our half lotus. We're opening up the side body. Also getting that stretch in the neck, the shoulder, the scalenes. You can look up or down. And unravel. Shake out your legs. A little flippy floppy out to side. And you can even get any cracks out of the knees and the ankles. Okay, so I'll demonstrate from here and then we will converge. Now, we're moving into side crow. And I'm going to give you, for those of you that are still working on crow, I'm going to give you a few pointers. And then for those of you that are ready to try your side crow, we'll be moving in that direction. But one of the things that can keep us from being able to practice side crow is tension in the visceral body. So not being able to twist deeply. So that's why I was bringing in all of the twists, all of the side to side wood chopper movements in our boat pose, why we did our chair with our twists, and all of that was to prepare us for this moment. So another little crow hack for those of you that are still working on crow is to maybe try standing on some blocks. I've seen this work really well for some bodies. Again, especially if you have a larger bosom, or if the belly gets in the way, standing up on a block, it naturally brings your elbows, the elbows of your legs, your knees higher up into the armpits. So that's one way of practicing. Slippery pants. Is to stand on some blocks. Okay. And then again, if you are new to the practice, remember your bolster. Even yoga teachers fall on their face regularly. And dental work is expensive. Okay, so if you've got your crow, then you're ready to start taking a twist, moving into your side crow. So you move the blocks off to the side, sitting on my heels here. I'm going to take a twist to the right. Now, just like I'm in a squat with a twist, or just like chair with a twist, I'm sitting down on my heels, plant the hands. So I'm going to turn to the side here so you can see my hands flat on the floor. And then bend the elbows into your body. Now start with your elbow at your hip, on the outside of your hip. So I'll go a little diagonal here. Fingertips forward and rock into your hips. Your feet do not have to come up off the floor, so you can bring in your bolster. Sometimes if you lift the hips up a little bit and kind of crouch down into this, that tends to be helpful. And then you can tip and just rest your cheek on the bolster. Now squeeze your ankles together, squeeze your feet together. Come in and out a couple times. Fingertips towards your bolster. Now if you look at your knees, one probably wants to creep past the other, right? So you want to draw them back so that they're level. Squeeze them together. Deep, deep twist through the torso. So be mindful to keep some length on both side bodies so you're not crunching and scrunching. And then place your cheek on the bolster. You can start to work on lengthening your legs. You can work on scissoring your legs. Bring it back together. Bend and come out. Fun time. All right. Once you're done with one side, you gotta do it on the other. Maybe toe stand in between, inner thighs together. Twisting now to the left. Hands have to come flat on the floor, fingertips forward. Elbows bend in to the body. So I've got one elbow kind of between, like in the crease between my calf and thigh, like below the knee. And then another elbow right in the hip. Now over time, as you get used to this, you'll be able to come off of that elbow that's on your hip. But first things first. You want to use your bones for stacking and weight bearing. So get used to it with the bolster first. And then you can start to play with your legs. So you try it, a little bit of playtime with the props first. Safety first, everybody. Safety first. moment when you're done playing and come roll out your wrists with me. So we'll revisit all of those wrist stretches that we started class with. I'm going to give you one more approach to this that seems to work really well for people. If you think you got your side crow down, you shake them up. And that's to come in from a raised lunge with a twist. Okay, so I'm going to start with right foot forward. And we'll just come into a raised lunge. So nice big crescent lunge. Oh, it feels good. If you'd like to add in a vinyasa, okay. So taking a twist, so left elbow onto the right knee, and you enjoy a twist. And then you can bring the hands down to the ground, right? Elbows in. And there you have it. And then you can try the other side. So left leg. From your crescent lunge, and you still need to take the time to build that base. Hands to heart, right elbow to left knee. Twisting, twisting. And you're taking it from the top. So again, somehow this does seem to really help students to come into the pose if they plant the hands down beside your left hip and then lay your leg on top of the backs of your arms and just tip forward. Remember, we're not pressing off with our feet, we're leading with the heart. And collapse. So let's meet when you're done playing back in that intense back body stretch, Paschimottanasana. We've got one more pose in the lineup. So take your time playing with your side crow, or if you're still working with crow, again, bring in the blocks. You might even try hopping back into plank and moving through a vinyasa. And we'll meet right here. Take your time to counter those arm balances, roll out your wrists. 5 to 8 breaths in Paschimottanasana. Come on up, making our way into either half lotus or full lotus. And I'll demonstrate peacock pose in full lotus pose. So I'll demonstrate first, and then we can try this together. So I'd like for you to watch and then try. So from full lotus, you gotta rock a little bit, right? And you can always try rocking up and hugging the knees in towards the chest. That's nice. And then you'll come on to your knees. And this is where you'll turn your fingertips towards you. So now, we're not going this way, we're going this way, which is a whole new approach to on the wrists and the hands. So the elbows will bend into the body again towards the navel. The chin will come down towards the floor. And then you'll lift the knees. And come back. So let's try that on one side. From full lotus first. Now, if that's not accessible, remember which leg you have on top, if you will. You can also do this, of course, with the legs long. So from kneeling, fingertips towards your knees. And you want to kind of hunch a little. And you can always keep your feet on the ground. If you want to lift your feet up off the floor, the trick is you have to send your weight forward with your chest. Okay. So I'll demonstrate that for those of you that aren't feeling the lotus pose. So now my elbows are inside my hip bones. And yes, I am kissing the yoga mat. Okay, so if you're doing it from lotus pose, come on out. And whichever foot that you had on top last time, try it again the other way. So with the legs long as well, this goes for both variations. Let your shoulders come forward. Your shoulders are going to go I want to say past your wrists, but they're already way past your wrists. They're going to go forward. They're going to go forward. Words. I'll show you. Because there's a part where, like, intuitively or instinctively, we want to kind of, like, draw back. But you have to keep going, and then you find it's always that null and void point where we become weightless. It's always a little terrifying right before you get to it. All right, so on the knees, fingers forward, round the back, elbows bend in towards the navel. A few breaths. It's been a while. Ooh, been a long while. Enjoy that. And we'll meet in full child's pose. And I really feel like pigeon is in order here, so if you want to bring your right knee forward, behind your right wrist, so coming through your down dog, into pigeon pose. We'll take 5 breaths on each side. inhale up. So tense your fingers. I'm going to demonstrate where you can go with this and start to bring all of it together. Everything from Sarvangasana, the shoulder stand, to lotus, to Peacock, since we just came from Peacock pose. So if you come into full lotus, bring that left leg around. Right. Now you can either, of course, if full lotus is not a part of your practice, you can just rock back and come into shoulder stand. But this is fun. We call it floating Buddha pose. So if you come back, you come back into your shoulder stand. Now you're in your lotus pose. I'm not going to be able to talk once I start going into this. So I'm going to shift the weight to the backs of my shoulders. It's really important that you bring the shoulders in. And instead of holding on to the lower back, I'm going to hold on to my knees. And my arms will be straight. So I'll demonstrate and cease speaking. And if you want to come out, knees in towards the chest, you can rock up. All right, now you might lift a little. And again, you can come into your peacock pose. Fingertips forward. This is why they call it peacock pose. I feel like I'm showing off now. You can always move through vinyasa or just come into down dog. And pigeon on the left. Five breaths. Oh, the beasties. So hanging out in your pigeon, I'd like to give you one more fun thing to play with. You know, you can go through that round again with lotus, and I'm going to come into shoulder stand again and show you some fun stuff that you can do with your legs. So stick at any variation that you're comfortable with, and if you're ready to bring it all together, then we can just start to add on. But as always, you know, listen to your body. I'm just here to show you the fun things you can do with it. All right, so if you want to come into full lotus, or you can just come up into Sarvangasana, and I'll turn this way so that you can see my legs, but watch first and then try so that you don't have to turn your head. That is the one rule of shoulder stand. It's Queen of all asana. Do not turn your head from side to side once you get up into it. And then remember the wall, for those of you that are still learning how to kick up. All right. So I'm going to scooch in a little bit. Now you can come into your floating Buddha. That's fun. You can try lifting and lowering from your lotus. And then we can open up the legs and come into big V and then twist. So this is what I like to call a helicopter. And you can touch and twist and touch. Now you can also draw your knee to forehead. Be careful here. I have clumped myself in the head, just not paying attention to what I was doing. You can bring the soles of the feet together for butterfly pose, upside down. You can come into eagle legs. But again, my favorite is that helicopter with the twist and the toe tap. Now we're going to finish class the same way we started, with legs up the wall. So take all the time that you need to play, and then take all the time that you need to integrate from practice today. I really like starting class with legs up the wall and ending class with legs up the wall, because they're like bookends, you know, like our chair pose in our sun salutation, or our half moon pose in our moon salutation. It gives you a nice definitive beginning and a definitive end. I really feel like the psyche and the body really like that. It's comforting. The end. Taking all the time you need to integrate from your practice and legs up the wall. And then when you're ready to if you're ready to come out, just find a comfortable seat. Today's June 2nd. And in light of the rioting that's happened all over the United States this past weekend, I'd like to close today's practice with Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Shanti meaning peace, Sanskrit for peace, peace, peace. So Om, the primordial sound of of creation itself, and infused with peace, Shanti. So if you like, please join in at home or listen and send the vibration of peace and love and compassion out into the universe. Taking a deep breath.